Start your day with Morning Edition and wind it down with All Things Considered, only on KPBS. From global headlines to local stories, stay informed, inspired, and connected. Tune in daily or listen anytime at kpbs.org.
Welcome in San Diego, it's Jade Hindman. On today's show, author María Dolores Águila shares a story of Chicano resilience in her book, A Sea of Lemon Trees. This is KPBS Midday Edition, connecting our communities through conversation. Through books like Menudo Sunday, author María Dolores Águila writes stories of San Diego's Mexican-American community, often telling true stories of resilience. She's the author of the 2024 One Book, One San Diego Kids selection, Barrio Rising, the protests that built Chicano Park. And she's back now with a new book, this time a novel for young readers called A Sea of Lemon Trees. María Dolores Águila, welcome back to Midday Edition.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So glad to have you. So your latest book tells a story from nearly a century ago. What was the Lemon Grove incident?
So in 1931, the Lemon Grove School Board decided to create a separate school for Mexican children. And so the Mexican community was not happy with that, and they fought back against that. Americanization school is what they called it. And they took the school board to court, and they won.
And tell me a bit more about that. What was the importance of that?
They were fighting against segregation. They didn't want to be in a separate school because they were concerned about the quality of education. And of course, we know, separate is never equal. So they, fought back against it. And it was during a time when it was at great personal risk because it's set in the Great Depression and it's also set in the Mexican repatriation. So not only were they facing economic risks like losing jobs, but also being deported to Mexico. So it's an important incident because it shows how community can come together and fight against injustice, even at great personal risk.
Right. Well, and unlike your more recent books, Barrio Rising and Menudo Sunday, this is not a picture book, but a novel. So why did you feel that was best for this story?
So what's funny is that A Sea of Lemon Trees was a picture book at one time. And so my editor was like, I think this should be a middle grade novel. And as soon as she said that, the first poem came to me and I was like, oh, okay, yes, let's do this. Let's write this as a novel. And I found in the novel, I was able to add so much more layers and so much more texture to the story than I could in a picture book. So I think that with this layered and textured approach, you get a real sense of the time and the place and what Roberto had to go through to be successful in this court case.
Well, can you read something for us?
Yes. Let me read one of the first poems. I live in a sea of lemon trees, rows and rows of trees studded with bright yellow globes, tightly tucked within glossy green leaves that rake your hand when you reach in to touch the sour-scented, cream-colored blossoms. I live in a sea of lemon trees, atop a mesa, las raíces de mi familia stretching from the south, a volcanic quarry to the north, the foothills of Mother Miguel rimming the east, and blinding glimpses of the Pacific Ocean to the west. On the best days, the faintest briny breeze plays with the flower sack curtains on my window. I live in a sea of lemon trees, with small patches of wild, where narrow-leaf romerillo, velvety savia blanca, and golden yarrow grow. I live in a sea of lemon trees where the newspapers proclaim the greatest climate on earth, and it is.
Oh, that's beautiful, and it really takes you there.
Yes.
Right? The texture, the colors, the scent. Can you talk about your writing process?
So I am very organized when it comes to my writing process, and it was actually an evolution to get there because when I first started writing, I was like, I don't need an outline. I don't need to know where the story is going. That's going to hinder my creative process. But I never was able to finish anything. So now I'm very organized. I, use the Save the Cat method where they have 15 beats from, the final image, first image to the final image. And I lay out what I'm going to write, and I'm very organized on how I do it, because that's how I can finish something. Even though it doesn't feel very artistic, it actually is, because there's freedom in the structure of it.
Well, I imagine research, too, was an important part of telling this story. What was that process like?
I love research. Like, I can go down a rabbit hole and like read all these old articles. And, there's a letter that one of the parents wrote for the Mexican consulate. And I remember, like, I found it and I was like, oh my gosh, I get to read it. I'm so excited. So for me, research is the funnest part. Like, you literally have to pull me away from it. But I enjoyed it so much. And there's a bibliography in the back with all the research that I did.
Oh, wow. Well, why did you choose to write this novel in verse?
So I grew up here in San Diego, and I never knew about this. Just like I didn't know about Chicano Park, I didn't know about this court case, the Lemon Grove incident. And so I always grew up learning stories about what Chicano communities had done in other parts of California. So like the grape boycotts in Central California, the East LA things, but never nothing in San Diego. And I was like, why? Like, have we not done anything? But, come to find out through research, like, the community in San Diego has accomplished things, and they've just been buried or not told for whatever reason. So I wanted to create this story so kids that live in San Diego, kids that were like I once was, can see that, wow, I come from a powerful place, like from powerful people that have accomplished amazing things.
Mm-hmm. And it's so interesting that that's not like the first thing that, people are taught in school. Mm-hmm. In your research, did you look into why that is? What conclusion did you draw on that?
So when I was doing the research, Roberto, the protagonist in the story, he was just a real quiet guy, and he never even really talked about it. So, he wasn't one to toot his own horn or to be like, I was a lead plaintiff in this case. No, he was just really quiet. He went to World War II, and then, he had a business, and that was it. He just never really talked about it.
Interesting. Well, like all your books, the setting is here in San Diego, as you mentioned. This time your story takes place in Lemon Grove, of course. How did you want to capture Lemon Grove at the time this story takes place, back in the 1930s?
Yes. So 1930s, it's funny because Lemon Grove is considered a rural area, right? Not right now, right. But in that time is a rural area. And I got to see a lot of little papers and advertisements for people to buy property in Lemon Grove. And it had stuck out to me. One of them had said, a sea of lemon trees as far as the eye could see. And I don't know why that image just stuck with me. And I was like, wow, I really like that. So that was one of the things that really stood out to me during the research and portraying Lemon Grove.
Yeah. It's almost hard to see Lemon Grove as a rural area looking at it now.
Yes.
You often incorporate real events into your writing, like here in A Sea of Lemon Trees. How do you approach finding a balance in being historically accurate while also making the story engrossing for the reader?
So that is the part that is hard, because I do want to stay as true to the story as possible, but I do have to take creative liberties to make the narrative work, right? So it's a tricky balance, and I always skew to the side of I want to be exactly right. This is how it happened and this is how it should be portrayed. But that doesn't always work when you're trying to create a narrative. And I rely a lot on my heritage as a Chicana writer to know that, in my community, we do things a certain way and make sure that I portray them accurately. So it's a balance of trying to make sure that I stay as close as possible, but also forgiving myself for having to take creative liberties in the story.
As with any author.
Yes.
Well, so the book comes out today, and it already has been nominated for the long list for a National Book Award. So congratulations to you on that.
Thank you.
Tell us about that and what else you have planned for the book.
So I had no idea that it was nominated to be on the long list for the National Book Award. And that morning, I had been snoozing my alarm. Mm-hmm. And then finally, when I unsnoozed it, my phone was blowing up. And I was like, what? What's going on? Did I do something wrong? What's happening? And so I was like, congratulations, congratulations. I was like, what? And so then come to find out, the book has been listed as one of the long lists for young people's literature for the National Book Award. And I mean, it's my debut book. I didn't even know what to think. It was just such an honor to be listed among these other authors with these prestigious backgrounds and their amazing literary work that they do. So it's an honor, and I'm so excited that other people can see San Diego history and kind of pull more of a universal lesson from it, even though it's such a local story.
It very much is. I tell you what, even though the snooze button and the alarm didn't get you out of bed, a slew of congratulations will always do the trick. That's great. It's a great way to wake up, isn't it? It is. Well, so the events in your novel took place nearly 100 years ago now, yet feels very resonant to things happening today. Was that intentional?
That was not intentional. I started writing it in 2021 before this kind of happened, and I thought I was going to be sharing a history lesson. And with everything that's going on right now, I'm like, wow, we really do live in the echoes of the past. Like, this has happened before. And now I feel like it's not just a history lesson, but it's also a guide to coming together as a community and fighting back.
And what do you hope readers take away from this story on that note?
What I hope more than anything that readers take away from this story is to feel empowered, to create change in their community, and to feel proud to stand in community.
María Dolores Águila's new book is called A Sea of Lemon Trees, and it's out today. Her previous books include Barrio Rising and Menudo Sunday. Maria, congratulations again, and thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for joining us today. If you missed anything, you can download KPBS Midday Edition on all podcast apps. Don't forget to watch Evening Edition tonight at 5 for in-depth reporting on San Diego issues. Also, you can always share your feedback or segment ideas at midday@kpbs.org or just give us a call. The number is 619-452-0228. I'm Jade Hindman. We'll talk again tomorrow. Until then, have a great day on purpose, everyone. That's our show for today. I'm your host, Jade Hindman. Thanks for tuning in to Midday Edition. Be sure to have a great day on purpose, everyone.
From El Centro to everywhere, we're Voices del Valle.
Voices del Valle?
Voices del Valle is a team-produced podcast about coming of age in California's Imperial Valley.
I love Voices del Valle.
On the next episode of Voices del Valle, we will talk with teens about their cheer and soccer championship seasons. I've got to listen to that. Voices del Valle, fresh voices, bold stories made in the valley.
Voices del Valle. Find us on KPBS or wherever you get your podcasts.